Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silent reflection for our servicemen and women throughout the world and for those who have passed away in our community, especially Gerard McNally and Robert Roach. Thank you. Before we do the roll call this evening, we had changed our meeting from Tuesday evening because of Election Day, and to be fair to everyone else, we moved it to Thursday, but because of that, two councilmen were unable to attend. Mr. McAndrew tonight is at his senior CTC Senior Award and graduation ceremony at school. So naturally, I wish them well up there. You know, that's a senior, so he should be there. And Mr. King already had a previous engagement, so they are excused from this meeting. So roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster.
Present.
Dr. Rothchild.
Here.
Mr. McAndrew. Mr. Smurl.
Here. Dispense with reading the minutes.
Third order, 3A, Memorandum of Agreement between the City of Scranton and the International Association of Firefighters, Local 60, regarding the bargaining unit members' residency requirements dated May 12, 2025. 3B, Controller's Report for the month ending April 30th, 2025. 3C, check received from Comcast representing the CATV franchise fee for Q1 of 2025. 3D, minutes of the non-uniform Municipal Pension Board meeting held April 16th, 2025. 3E, agenda for the non-uniform Municipal Pension Board meeting held May 21st through 2025. 3F, minutes of the Scranton Police Pension Commission meeting held April 16th, 2025. 3G, minutes of the Composite Pension Board meeting held April 16th, 2025.
Are there any comments on any of your third order items?
My only comment is on 3A, so I'm glad to see that both sides, the city and the fire department, have signed the MOA regarding the residency. This was rushed before us, before our August recess, and it took quite some time to get it done, but I'm glad to see it's been completed and signed by both sides.
Anyone else? If not, received and filed. Do any council members have any announcements at this time?
I have an announcement. Both DPW and City Hall will be closed Monday the 26th for observance of Memorial Day, so both trash and recycling will be one day behind.
Yes, and just on this Memorial Day weekend, just encourage everyone to take some time to remember all those fallen heroes and those who have died for our country. So that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fourth order, citizen participation.
First, Joan Hodowanis.
Joan Hodowanis, Scranton. First, I would like to congratulate all the candidates for Scranton City Council. I see Sean McAndrews in the back, Patrick Flynn, Tom Schuster, of course, is already seated, and Mark Payne. And I'm looking forward to a very spirited but clean political fight. We shall see. Tomorrow night, 5 to 8 p.m. is Swinging on Vine, a library fundraiser. Now, we're probably going to have some rain, but don't let that deter you from coming, because they're bringing in multiple tents and it's going to kind of pave over Vine Street. So you will be able to enjoy food and dancing, and the band is picture perfect. We'll also, have all the desserts and raffle baskets are on the first floor of the library itself, and on the second floor, we'll open up the Henkelman room. So if you'd like to sit and dine there and listen to the band from the second floor, you can do that too. We're expecting some rain, but I don't think it's going to be catastrophic. So come and enjoy a night out on the town. I too saw the residency requirement for the firefighters, and I was happy. I'm curious, though, do we have to do a similar MOU or MOA with DPW and the clerical union?
Well, I believe they will do it because even though that ordinance does not exist in the city of Scranton, it does exist in their contracts.
Okay, so hopefully as each contract comes up, like we're in the process of negotiating DPW right now,
So it may not even be included in that one.
yeah, hopefully that's going to correct itself. Speaking of DPW's contract, I looked at the controller's report for April, and under HR, professional services, Mr. Effberg got another $24,000. I'm sure that's for his services as a labor counsel. But something I did not understand, under the Business Administration's Office Professional Services, apparently we paid the U.S. Department of Revenue $47,799.37. What was that for?
So I don't know what that was for. I will find out.
Tom, did you notice that?
I didn't see it.
What was it again?
Your microphone.
What was it again? Can you repeat that?
Under professional services, under the BA's office, we paid the U.S. Department of Revenue $47,799.37.
I did see it, but we'll have to inquire about it.
Yeah, please do. I don't recall seeing in prior control reports paying, the Treasury Department anything, but who knows? The contract with Kathleen Thomas for delinquent business privilege and mercantile taxes, is that ever going to end? Because it says that, you can do a one-year extension ad infinitum. Is there a point where we simply give up on collecting those delinquent taxes?
John, I don't know exactly how many are left.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I will find out how many left.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little side gig,
So Joan, I did plan on asking for an update with that tonight as well.
Okay, thank you. And finally, this preserving the federal tax exemption on municipal bonds. I was certainly surprised to see that. Why would we want to shoot ourselves in the foot by making it difficult or discouraging people from buying munis? Apparently, it's going to save the country $823 billion, but it's going to cost each household and business $6,500. Is this another Elon Musk initiative? I don't know. I mean,
That's where it came from.
munis are a great thing because it supports cities and it's a tax break for the people who invest in them. I just don't understand that logic. I think it's penny wise and pound foolish. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Angela, Ramon?
Hello, it's good to see you all again. Just double checking that my mic is good. Everyone can hear me? Good, thank you. I'd like to change course a little bit from the usual things that I talk about tonight and talk a little bit about immigration as someone who throughout my entire life have been friends, neighbors, co-workers with immigrants who have greatly enriched my life. I would like to talk a bit about the city of Scranton and the potential for us to have contracts with ICE. Over the past several months, what we've seen with the actions of ICE as an agency, they have been consistently and blatantly violating people's rights to due process. And I firmly believe that, for me, as an American citizen, I believe that every single person on American soil deserves due process when they're accused of a crime. And I believe that it is very important for the safety of everybody including civilians and law enforcement, that there is a mutual understanding that if someone is accused of a crime, like if I'm accused of a crime, for example, that I understand that if I'm falsely accused, I will show up before a judge, before a jury, and I'm able to prove my innocence, right? If there's a breakdown of that trust where someone is accused of a crime and they just get whisked off, sent off to a country they've maybe never even been to before, right? No trial, no hearings, nothing like that. There's no trust in that process. And it presents a massive, massive danger both to the public at large as well as to law enforcement. I know that last year an officer of the Scranton Police Department was shot and killed, and I don't want to see anything like that happen again in the city of Scranton, especially not anytime soon. And I believe in order to prevent things like that from happening in the future, we need to make sure that the public knows that when they encounter law enforcement in our city, that their rights will be respected, even for those who have committed crimes, that they will show up before a judge, they will have their day in court, and they will get a fair trial. And I believe that the city of Scranton cooperating with ICE at this point in time is something that would break down that trust and make every single person in this city fear for their safety and fear for their rights. When ICE is conducting operations, arresting people outside of courthouses, outside of hospitals, schools, no one is going to feel safe in these places. Think about people who are immigrants here, legal or not, who for many reasons might have to go to the hospital, they might have to show up to a courthouse for an ordinary business. They're arresting people and detaining people who are showing up to immigration hearings as part of their normal legal process of having legal residency in the United States. And when that happens, right, other immigrants who are here legally are going to see this and think, if I show up to my hearings, if I show up and try and do things by the book, do things correctly, ICE might show up and strip me away from my family, right? And we don't want that to happen, of course. So I will say, when it comes to the city of Scranton, until we have full confidence that ICE as a federal agency is going to respect people's rights to due process, we should not cooperate with them. We should not allow them to operate in our city, and we should not allow them to break down the trust between law enforcement in our city and the public, which has been a very, very, very long fight to achieve. So that's all I have to say about that, but I will also like to add on, last week I had spoken about SB 9 and how it's a bill that would significantly impact people's rights to privacy and especially children's ability to participate in things like sports and other events, and especially trans children. But I only heard a comment from Dr. Rothchild, and I would appreciate to hear from the rest of the board about your thoughts on SB 9 and protecting our queer youth here in Scranton. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Chris Matthews?
Chris Matthews, up on YesU. Last week, I was visited by the engineer, the director of DPW, and Scott Tiemann on my property to discuss what I believe could potentially be a major issue, yet nothing was discussed whatsoever about underground and water erosion. My theory and all the evidence I had to prove my theory was completely ignored. Instead, Director Scott decided to tell me how plants work. He even had the audacity to tell me rain falls from the sky and badger me with how to properly maintain my home and to perform basic property management, something I was doing probably before he even knew his ABCs, to the point where I needed to eject him off my property. Now, I believe this could be potentially a huge issue because that water coming out of the ground 800 feet away from my house that the city's stormwater study deemed as mountain lake runoff with a question mark, which was not even investigated afterwards. I believe this is where it stems from, traveling through the entire development. which back in the early 1900s was the location of the Spunks Coal Company that pulled 93,000 tons of coal out of that area. Now, 2005, exactly 110 feet away from where the water comes off the city street and disappears into the ground, in 2005, an air shaft to that mine that Robinson Park sits on had to be filled with about 12 cubic yards of concrete to fill. And I mean, Robinson Park sits on a reclaimed mine. And together with the Mountain Lake Coal Company, they pulled out 120,000 tons of coal out of that mountain. And like, we want to roll the dice on underground water erosion because the facts are there. Someone made an executive decision to leave out a 6-foot section of curb, which is the only type of water egress system in place in that neighborhood, which is years of water coming down, going straight into the ground and eroding, which I said falls out to where we believe Mountain Lake runoff is. I mean, I'm not a problem here. I'm vigilant. I'm trying to identify a problem, and I'm being bullied and lied to by the city and the city workers because I'm trying to identify a problem. I'm trying to swindle the city out of money that it doesn't have. I'm trying to save the city money. I pay my taxes every year. I'm a pretty good citizen. I personally take care of the woods in Robinson Park, roughly 1,600 feet, digging those trenches, draining those disgusting swamps that West Nile has found almost every single year on my own time. I'm not afraid to do work. I'm not afraid to put in work. If I could handle this myself, it would have been done. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have the director and engineers up there. I would have handled this, but I can't do this by myself. First of all, it's my neighbor's property that continues through my property and affects several other properties. And all I'm asking is just be taken seriously here. This is coal country. We're going to really play games with underground water erosion through what was the Spunks Coal Company. And I mean, it's just very, very frustrating that I'm not even taken serious. I mean, any of you are more than welcome to come up to my house and have an intelligent, respectful conversation where I will show you the evidence and explain my theory. And I mean, the mayor of Scranton herself says public safety and infrastructure are top priorities of hers. Her office has been ignoring me for months, specifically Isaiah Watson, who 9 days ago assured me that he is working diligently on providing me the information of why to the city made a determination that hydronic pressure is naturally occurring on my property, something that does not naturally occur anywhere else on this planet. Her office is well aware, and I'm being completely ignored and lied to, also by her. And I mean, it's kind of ridiculous at this point. I need someone to actually take the time to investigate this and look at this. I mean, I will hire my own engineer, but I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to have "I told you so" moment. I don't want that. I don't want that to happen up there. I care about my community. I care about the people up there. I care about the city. Like I said, I want to save you money. Damage is already done. Damage. 2 years I've been trying to. This has affected my quality of life. Something else the mayor claims is a top priority of hers. My quality of life. I can't even enjoy my backyard. I can't even enjoy my house. I have to go out there and document. They try to tell me this is the worst frost we've seen since 62 years. That's what the DPW is trying to tell me. DPW is also trying to convince me that natural settlement is occurring in a 4-month period, rapidly in a 4-month period, 62 years after a structure has been built. Like this is, and expect me to sit there and take this? I'm not, no more. I'm not asking why anymore. I want action. Thank you.
Thank you. Ron Ellman?
Yeah, Council, I'd like to congratulate all the people involved in this election because I've talked to some that worked so hard for their candidate. A couple of weeks back, I scolded y'all for not reading the handwriting on the wall. Well, again, it's happening. The data centers need for extreme, massive amounts of power will result in construction by the electric companies the conglomerates, that's going to result in increases in our electric bill to pay for these lousy $1 million data centers. They're full of money. It's still going to fall on the taxpayers. It's just an endless circle that always ends up raping the public. Well, it's bad enough having solar farms in the city. You can just imagine them springing up all over the place. And after reading today's paper, I think only a miracle can save us from another 4 years of Cognetti, people. She will devour Biden like the lions ate the Christians in the Forum. I don't know how many of y'all go up and down Greenridge where the new bridge is being constructed. Did anybody have an idea how much that bridge, that temporary bridge, temporary, it's not just meant for a short time. How much do you think that costs? 2, 3 million? 5 million? Hey, try $20 million wasted on that bridge. $20 million, 16 for construction, and of all things, $4 million for architects. If that's not a total rape of the public, I don't know what you call it. $4 million to make a little simple bridge over the river there that's be gone in a few years. And that's without the demolition and buying a property and the reclaiming it. It's just, there isn't a reason in the world we couldn't have detoured for a year or something like they do all over the city. Parker Street was detoured, and it was I went way out of my way to go to the park to feed the deer. And it could have been a short distance on Greenridge. No. Some kind of crooked deal went on so they could build. And while I mentioned it, yesterday at that park on Parker Street, I saw a little baby deer. And I wish some of you people out there would bring some fruit and apples or something to start feeding these animals, because they are, I think a couple of them are gone already, the adults. Harrisburg took away their habitat. There's no trees or nothing anymore for them. I don't know how they survived in the winter. I asked a couple grocery stores if they'd give me soiled stuff. Oh, this is going back years. Nobody, just nobody seems to care about taxes. Nobody seems to care about the other fellow. Harrisburg doesn't care. There's nobody to help seniors and low-income people with any kind of problems. They just look like this is a forgotten area, except Page's downtown. And those SOBs don't pay the taxes they're supposed to. Every one of them gets big breaks like WNEP. It's a shame what's been allowed in this city, and now we can look forward to 4 more years of this woman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mellon. That's it for our sign-in sheet. Anyone else wish to address council?
Tom Goyne, Manuka. First of all, congratulations to all on the council who are up for election, who passed the first step. Congratulations on getting past that goalpost, and good luck in the next step and actually getting voted in the final election. Back in Manuka, I've noticed a lot of replacements of electric poles. Some got done just after the winter broke, but I'm noticing more and more of them chopping off the top of a pole or putting in a longer pole, moving a wire over from one pole to the other, not removing all of the others that are on there, which I'm sure they call the other utilities to move them and consolidate them. Some poles that have been done, some not, but the dual poles still remain. I'm seeing 2 poles right next to each other on a regular basis at this point, including where they've dug in and put a hole in the ground, leaving a gigantic unfilled in divot of dirt where they dug in and didn't properly backfill and pack the area where they put the new poles in. I remember at one point we were going out there and taking a look and saying, when you put in a new pole, they have to move the wires over to the new pole, and once that's done, they have to remove the old one. Well, it seems that's not being done because we're getting more and more of 2 poles in one place as they put up a new one and just leave the old one standing. I reported to 311, actually for the app for potholes, last year off Oak and Finney Street, a pothole that was growing that had been patched the year beforehand. Needless to say, it hasn't been touched, hasn't been patched or taken care of, and it's about 2 foot wide by 2 foot long by somewhere between like 8 and 10 inches deep. It's basically, when I go over it, I have to straddle my wheels on either side of the pothole, not to actually go in it. It's on a downward slope, so it's not really visible to people who would take a look at it and know that it's there. And it's right above a sewer drain pipe, a manhole cover. But it's bigger than a car tire, the entire area that this pothole now consumes. It really needs to be taken care of, at least thrown fill in there so that you don't have a gigantic 2 foot hole that's good 7 to 8 inches deep.
Can you repeat the intersection? You said Oak and what?
Oak Avenue and Finney Street back in Manuka.
Okay.
And it was reported on the app, and photos were taken of it to show where the location is. It's just rather large. I've looked at the building down here where I said the basement is being undercut. They put a sign on it, and they re-put up the condemned no trespassing sign. And the old law office, which I would believe used to be the music building down here. That doesn't resolve the fact that it probably has an underground dig that goes underneath the sidewalk. That the building is no longer, or the front of it is no longer structurally sound and attached actually to the foundation itself. And there's stress cracks that are running parallel to the ground, not horizontal as you usually say. We've seen a lot of buildings where the fascias dropped off onto the public sidewalks. I addressed behind the fire department here, there is a 45-foot rain gutter that is 3.5 stories up, that is secured on both ends of the building, but it is ripped off from the entire length of the building, and a 45-foot metal rain gutter that's probably going to eventually fall down on cars and hopefully not someone. But we don't get to those issues until they actually collapse. Then we actually look at them and go out and evaluate it. And last, the city charter. We get things wrong with it, and the 2 things that I have problems with in it is that the charter has a pocket veto in it. Instead of a pocket veto, has a pocket approval in it, which if something goes before the mayor's office and she does not sign it, it automatically is approved, which is opposite of how the federal government works, where a pocket veto kicks it out if it's not signed. And the last thing is referendums.
Thank you.
I'll touch back on that next week. Thank you.
Mr. Voldenberg, I believe Mr. McAndrew last week asked about that big gutter on the back of the building.
That was reported the next day. That's the
And no response
Leonard
yet?
Hardware building.
Okay.
That
We
was
just
reported.
try to
I'll
get an
follow
update,
up.
maybe. Or who has it, who received it, or who has it, maybe, so we can find out.
I will.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Dave Dobson, resident, taxpayer. Congratulations to the winners and to the people that didn't make it, and condolences. Hopefully, we can all work together to improve the town over the next 4 years. Keep the consternations and personal attacks down to a minimum. They get tiring. We don't have any 32 felony criminals under this roof anyway. Maybe somewhere else, but not here. And I read about a new pothole and pave cut law ordinance being passed here. Is that the case? Hopefully, I'll have to look and see, but hopefully the pave cuts will be done right, and they will be properly filled on the end with asphalt. That's where the water gets in, and in 2 years, you have a mess. And I'm seeing it all over. I'm seeing it in Dunmore, and maybe it'll be $20 for the utility to fill it up properly, but when it comes to us, then 2 years down the road, it's a mess. I remember that Mulberry Street here just a couple of years ago was repaved, was it not? And I mean, it's horrible. It's just horrible, and it's all pave cuts. You can see a little crack and dump a little asphalt in it and fill it up, and that's works for a good long time. But when they start digging and they just want to pull out of town when they're done with what they want to do, and goodbye, and your sewer bill goes up and your water bill goes up, everything goes up. Gas bill goes up. Mine's up about $150 a month this winter. Somebody snuck a little on the poor girl's dependent on insulin, and it's not a lot of fun, but you know, it really knocked the daylights out of our bill. And we have last night passed in Congress defunding Medicare or Medicaid, and Medicare is subject to a sequester from an old Trump era law. So get ready. That's if you voted for our friend in Washington right now, your grandkids or your son or son-in-law or daughter-in-law may lose their coverage, and that'll just have to be too bad. And if you have secure insurance and money to pay for it, keep in mind it's going to keep going up, because when the hospitals don't get paid for emergency cases at the ICU, they start to finagle it into the insurance, the private insurance, and raising rates, and then you get a letter in the mail that your rates are going up, and it becomes less and less affordable every day. Ours have gone up from about $200 a month to $500 a month for 20% insurance over the last couple of years. So, and that's just the 20%. Foreign students were banned, or there's an attempt to ban foreign students out of Harvard. And by the way, $52 billion a year comes in to universities from foreign students. So think about it. and cyber protection's been suspended. I spent several hours last weekend trying to make a payment on a credit card. You know, calling up and just getting nowhere. I don't know if they were hacked or what's going on, but it's just going to get worse and worse. And, you know, get ready. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if not being elected is an asset, because you're going to be listening to a lot of grief for the next several years if you are. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Good evening, Scranton City Council. Mike Mancini, Scranton. Before we talk about my qualifications as promised from last week and why I'm all in for mayor, I would like to congratulate all of you who made it through to the general election. Our local election here in Scranton had a very low turnout. I attribute this to the council and the mayor. It's not necessarily for the 5 of you, but when a few little questions get answered, it makes the good people of Scranton feel like they shouldn't even bother. This is the way things are in Scranton. The extra set of doors does not help either. Apparently, the mayor feels unsafe in her own city. This is what our current climate has come to. It does not have to be like this. Change is coming to city council, and that will be the same for the mayor. Tonight, my qualifications. It starts with heart, the way you look at others. See the inside of anyone and how they carry themselves. The outside is just a shell. I don't see parties. I see the good in people of Scranton, and that they make a big difference, have seen a big difference compared to 5 years ago when the mayor took office. 12 years of mortgage origination experience, along with 16 years of debt collection experience. I greatly utilized this experience along my 12 years as an advisor to the former late great mayor, Jim Connors. That is the glass ceiling. Thank you, Jimmy. Look at our appearance. We have witnessed our city change over the last 5 decades. We compare this to the last 5 years. Police calls have been alarming. Our roads look the worst that I've ever seen. Mayor looks down on our city employee unions, and morale is at an all-time low. She has made this expansion team inaccessible with a locked extra set of doors. She touts $155 million in grants with little to be seen. Flynn versus the city of Scranton and other costly lawsuits. She is using the good people to propel herself towards a higher office. 4 less deep end pools, not one pool in the biggest part of our city, West Scranton. Instead of asking where she really lives, maybe we should be asking the question, does she know how to swim? The general election is November 4th, 165 days away. It does not have to be like this. We could do better. I know what our city used to look like, and I know that glass ceiling. As an advisor to the mayor, Connors, I offer my input without hesitation, without a pat on the back. It was the right thing to do. 3 weeks after he took office, his administration was tested. The city had full responsibility for the Central Scranton Expressway. The lights went out. The expense to fix it was $110,000 to the lowest and most responsible bidder. 35 years ago, it was quite an expense. I received a call from their city treasurer, Tom Galella, asking if I had any ideas. I suggested they give it to the state. 2 weeks later, the lights were on, and future expenses maintaining that expressway were gone. In return, I asked that 7 pools remain open. They were. Now we have splash pads and a mayor who cannot swim. While working for a collection agency, we were responsible for all delinquent City of Allentown accounts, including trash fees. Once again, I stepped up and recommended to the mayor that he reach out to the mayor of Allentown. They met, and the trash fee was $74.18, just like Allentown. I also spearheaded the city and the county to place delinquent trash fees and taxes for collection. We went back to 1940. Sometimes you need to make some tough choices. You didn't raise taxes once in 12 years. It starts with good people around you. I bring a winning team that you all know prior to the election. November will be very critical. The election for the people. They need to truly get out and vote. There is no need to keep your head down and accept our current climate. Speak up. Get out and vote. Let's flip the script. I have my heart in the right place. Look at people based upon how they carry themselves. Do the best that I can daily. I've never given up on myself. My faith teaches me that my son is watching, and I always try to make him proud of me. I will raise my right hand and swear as your 37th mayor of the city of Scranton, I will keep my word. Change needs to be happening, and it starts with each one of you who truly care. Change is coming. Get out and vote. Good evening, Council.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Council. Amy Cusick, resident of the city of Scranton, also president of Christmas Miracles from Heaven. As you guys know, we have been maintaining the Washburn Street Cemetery since June 15th of last year, and that will continue on as far as I am here. I also just wanted to let you guys know that we are planning a Memorial Day service this Monday at 1 p.m. at the cemetery in the Veterans section by the flagpole. I'm very proud to announce that we have an E5 active duty Army Sergeant, Charlie Blonsey from Oliphant. He's going to be coming down as our guest speaker. We also have the VFW 3421 out of South Scranton that will be coming and playing the taps, as well as the 21 gun salute. Today, while I was coming to Council, I drove past the cemetery and I noticed that the Boy Scouts Troop 50 from St. Anne's was there, and they were putting new flags on all of the veterans' graves. I just want to personally say thank you to them once again. Their comments to me was, it's much easier to find the graves now that the grass is low. I also just wanted to let you guys know that I did send you guys an email back on March 24th, and I invited every single one of you, along with Mayor Cognetti, to please come as well to the Memorial Day service. We will also be having a service in September for the Avondale Miners to pay tribute to them. These are services that the cemetery used to do years ago, and since it's been abandoned and forgotten, so has those services. But now they will come back into play starting this year. As a resident of Scranton, I just wanted to also thank the Scranton Police Department. As I was leaving my house, I was approached by 2 officers who informed me that they will be walking the beat once again in West Scranton. I want to say that it is an honor to see them back out on the streets. West Scranton is tough. I've lived there for 20 years now. The crime is increasing, and it needs to stop. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, Council. My name's Rick Little, and I am running for mayor of Scranton in November as an independent on the Mission from God party. You got to serve somebody, even in the so-called democracy. Scranton must become a U.S. constitutional and government. I've said this a lot, and we need to gain good spirits in this community to evict all the demons of that the government controls that have definitely presided over the last 40 years in the area. It's a combination of what happened to Scranton and how it got lost in the county. I'd like to talk about the county. It's the home rules of Scranton and home rules of Lackawanna is definitely unconstitutional, but they run all the judicial things around here, so none of them are going to declare it unconstitutional. The closed primary is a violation of the Pennsylvania Constitution, Article 1, Section 5 and 25. which states, "Elections shall be free and equal, and no power, civil or military, shall at any time interfere to prevent free exercise of the right to suffrage. Reservations of power in people to guard against transgressions of the high powers which we have delegated, we declare that everything in this article is accepted out of the general powers of government and shall forever remain inviolate." Lackawanna County should have been had an open special election to fill the open county commissioner seat and the clerk of court of common pleas seat, which is there. There's too many people running in the judiciary and in the school board, running as Democrats and Republicans. No one really knows what's going on because it's all coming through the available media, the Times Tribune and everything, and it's been going on for 40 years. People have no idea what, if Bob Casey is Bob Casey or what's going on because they've been sold on one thing or another. It's the judiciary, the media, our local media, WNEP, parent company, ABC. I learned long ago through one of the guys that was on Bill Clinton's staff, George Stephanopoulos, and then he gets out and he's a big correspondent on ABC. Anyway, that's what's going on. And the school indoctrination isn't doing any good because they just don't teach civics of how things work. And I have high hopes for Generation X and a law student coming around to pass the bar to make the petitions and motions necessary to restore this area back to a constitutional governance. I'm a film director. I have a master's degree in film, and as a film director, it requires leadership qualities to gather the affordable elements and people to complete a project. Scranton's budget is $113 million. I've been looking at it, oh God, and trying to figure it out, but it has to be, stop it. It has to be clear of what's going on because it's too much to take in and we need constitutional governance here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No? Amy, are you still back there? Your Memorial Day ceremony, it's at the cemetery, it's at 1 p.m.? Okay, and I believe the one down at the Memorial Stadium is at noon, so people may run a bit late. That usually lasts about an hour, so just to let you know, that usually runs about an hour. Okay? Thanks. Is no one else?
Fifth order, 5A motions.
Mr. Schuster, do you have any comments or motions? Or
Yes, I have a few. I did get some complaints about 421 Campbell Street. I went out there on several occasions, met with the neighbors, and just to give them an update. Mr. Voldenberg got an email today that the city has brought this matter to the Court of Common Pleas. The city has taken this action in hopes of helping to resolve the matter quicker than waiting for a magistrate hearing, which would be scheduled for June. So there's a full hearing scheduled before Judge Powell on May 27th, 2025, over the issue at 421 Campbell Street. There was something that was raised tonight about mine runoff on East Mountain. Can we inquire whether has the city ever looked into water testing at Mountain Lake, and would they pursue water testing?
I'll ask those questions, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. McAndrew had asked the question last week about recycling, and it's something I've asked in the past too. He asked about an update on the bid for the new recycling contract, and the answer that came back was that the city is currently negotiating with the selected recycling vendor, and legislation and the contract will be sent to council in the coming weeks. So that's somewhat of an update on our recycling status. Other than that, President Smurl, that's all.
Thank you. Dr. Rothchild, do you have any motions or comments?
Yes, I have a couple of them. First off, I did receive a response. I was asking last week about meeting date for the next unsheltered task force meeting, and that's going to be held in June. I was provided with an invite. I don't think I'll be able to make it due to my work schedule, but perhaps another council member will be able to go, or will at least get a report back from the mayor on that meeting and be able to provide that to the public. I had submitted some information on potholes located on the 800 block of Willow Street. I saw them myself and had gotten some pictures, and there's some pretty large ones there, so hoping that could get remedied soon. There were projects that were going on there, and there were clear markings along that street as well. So I don't know when it's expected that the entire street will be taken care of, but at least if they could get some temporary fill of the potholes that are already there. They're quite large, so I wouldn't want to hit them with my vehicle. And I had also submitted a few weeks ago a request for a replacement of a few stop signs at an intersection. It's at Olive and Madison, and a few of them are worn or have graffiti on them. So I'm hoping that DPW will be able to get to them soon so that those stop signs could be replaced. Because it might be easy for the worn signs for drivers to miss them and perhaps not stop. I wouldn't want to see an accident because of it. I also hate to see graffiti on our street signs, so I'd appreciate if they were able to get to that intersection quickly.
I'll follow up on that, Dr. Rothchild.
Thank you. And that intersection is also nearby by the Jewish Community Center, which is on Jefferson Avenue. And I had some questions because I know that there were some other schools that we were, doing crosswalks at the intersections and signage for the schools, ones that weren't just public schools. And they have a preschool inside of that. So I was wondering if we might be able to get the crosswalks at that intersection on Jefferson painted, as well as the possibility of some signage that there are, kids there, or school, just so drivers are aware.
I did submit that. We'll see what they can schedule.
Okay, thank you. And there was something else I had brought up the other week within downtown and with the water collection after storms, and the particular intersection that I was asking about was over on Biden and Penn, and I did get to talk to our DPW director about it. He informed me that he believes that's part of a future streetscape project to be able to add basins at those intersections where there should be, and then correcting the pavement too, so that there's not that pooling of water. So in the meantime, they do pay special attention to those areas that they know that occurs in, and come by with the street sweeper and try to remove the water to the best of their ability. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Last evening was South Scranton Residents Association meeting, and I attended it, and also Andrew Sunday from our code enforcement Department also attended it. I want to thank Andrew Sunday for coming out on his time and speaking with the neighbors about a lot of problems they have in the neighborhoods about parking and things like that. Another thing came up there was Whittier School and parking at Whittier School. Whittier School in the morning, they put barricades up, and in the afternoon too. I only live 2 blocks away from there, and I did notice the barricades and stuff, but I never thought about it until really last night when they said about the traffic and how bad it is up there, and that they had called multiple times, and they had contacted me and said I didn't respond, but I did look that all up. So I did find, we did send that in. I did send it into, actually the last request I had, I sent it into Kevin Carney from the school district, and he met with these people 4 separate occasions. But that was from the school district. The police were also there multiple times. They sat there. And I have all this information that we have on our council website, but they did not have any events happen. Naturally, while you're sitting there, nothing's going to happen. Everything will run smooth. But when they're not there, so I actually went up and watched it, and it's a disaster. So I have all the information on it, Mr. Voldenberg. I'll give it to you after the meeting. And the only thing I can think of is if we can have, I know the police were there, the school was there. They painted crosswalks, which didn't make any sense, but they painted crosswalks into somebody's sidewalk or something. It's still there. But if we can have, if we would request, have our city engineer go and look at it and do some traffic study on it. If there's something else, we have to be missing something. You can't walk up, you can't walk across the street, and once they drop the kids off, they go through the alley. When they go through the alley, like, it's a race to get to the other side. So if people are coming up that alley, it's bad. One of the neighbors was actually out there trying to direct the traffic, and he's elderly, and it's not going to be good. So if we can take care of that.
I will, sir.
All right, that's it. Thank you.
5B for introduction, a resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract extension with Kathleen M. Thomas, Esquire, to serve in the capacity of special counsel for delinquent business privilege and mercantile tax collection for the city of Scranton.
This time, entertain a motion that item 5B be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question?
Oh, on the question. Mr. Voldenberg, could we please ask the administration if we can get an update on our delinquent collections of BPM tax? And can we also ask for what's the total dollar amount that we collect per year on on those delinquencies as well?
I will, sir.
Thank you.
All those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5C for introduction, a resolution declaring support for the preservation of the federal tax exemption of municipal bonds.
This time, entertain a motion that item 5C be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question?
On the
question. Oh.
Go ahead.
I know we probably all have something to say about this, how important it is that municipalities don't become taxed on the bonds. And I know Ms. Hodowan had brought up some valid points about it too. So I'm in full support of this resolution, and I hope that there'll be many other municipalities like ours who are standing up against this.
Thank you.
Yes, I was also going to say I'm in total support of maintaining the tax exempt status of municipal bonds.
All right, very good. Thank you. So all those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5D for introduction, a resolution ratifying and approving the execution and submission of a grant application by the City of Scranton to the PA Small Water and Sewer Program for $425,080 for Phase 2 of the Fawnwood Stormwater Improvement Project.
This time, entertain a motion that item 5D be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second?
On the question?
On the question, it's great to see us moving forward with some of these stormwater projects.
Thank you. All those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, so moved.
Sixth order, no business at this time. Seventh order, 7A, for consideration by the Committee on Rules for Adoption, Resolution Number 204, 2025, reappointment of Jessica Nolan as a member of the Environmental Advisory Council, expiring May 31st, 2028.
As chairperson for the Committee on Rules, I recommend final passage of item 7A.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7A legally and lawfully adopted.
7B for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 205, 2025, ratifying and approving the execution and submission of a fiscal year 2026 Federal Appropriations Community Project Funding Request application by the City of Scranton for up to $3 million for the Pittston Avenue Infrastructure Streetscape Project.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7B.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7B legally and lawfully adopted.
7C for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 206, 2025, ratifying and approving the execution and submission of a fiscal year 2026 Federal Appropriations Community Project Funding Request application by the City of Scranton for up to $363,618 for the Pine Brook Brownfield Cleanup and Site Preparation Project.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7C.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7C legally and lawfully adopted.
7D for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 207, 2025, ratifying and approving the execution and submission of a fiscal year 2026 Federal Appropriations Community Project Funding Request application by the City of Scranton for up to $1 million for the purchase of police technology and equipment.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7D.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7D legally and lawfully adopted.
7E for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 208, 2025, ratifying and approving the execution and submission of a fiscal year 2026 Federal Appropriations Community Project Funding Request application by the City of Scranton for up to $2,343,750 for the construction of an emergency operations and training center.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7E.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7E legally and lawfully adopted.
7F for consideration by the Committee on Public Works for adoption, Resolution Number 209, 2025, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with Barry Isid and Associates for the design and engineering of the Gray Street Playground.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Works?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Works, I recommend final passage of item 7F.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7F legally and lawfully adopted.
7G for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 211, 2025, ratifying and approving the execution and submission of the grant application by the City of Scranton to the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for up to $175,000 in funds for Phase 2 of the all-inclusive playground at Naog Park. That includes the design, purchase, and installation of all-inclusive playground equipment.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7G.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7G legally and lawfully adopted.
7H for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 212, 2025, ratifying and approving the execution and submission of the grant application by the City of Scranton to the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for up to $118,289 in funds for Fellows Park improvements.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7H.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7H legally and lawfully adopted.
7I for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 213, 2025, accepting the recommendation of the Historic Architectural Review Board and denying the certificate of appropriateness for the conversion of 2 existing static billboards located at 320 Mulberry Street.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7I.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7I legally and lawfully adopted.
7J for consideration by the Committee on Public Works for adoption, Resolution Number 214, 2025, ratifying and approving of the execution and submission of the grant application by the City of Scranton and authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to accept the grant in the amount of $1,000 awarded by Lackawanna County for the electronics recycling event.
What is recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Works?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Works, I recommend final passage of item 7J.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7J legally and lawfully adopted.
8th Order 8A, Resolution Number 210, 2025.
This is a resolution of a liquor license transfer and has been tabled until a public hearing to be held May 27, 2025 at 5:45 p.m. Also, I forgot before, I want to thank everyone that had run for public office and congratulate everyone that has the opportunity to move forward, especially my colleague, Mr. Schuster.
Thank
If
you.
there's no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Well, I'd just like to say one thing. We had a lot of resolutions that got passed tonight in 7th Order, and I think a lot of progress has been made in the city tonight moving forward here. One thing I'd like to say is, I saw comments in the paper by the mayor, and if I don't question things while on this council, I'm not doing my job as a councilman. So I'd just like to put that out there. I think a lot of progress is made, and this council passes most things that come down from this mayor. That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you.
I would also just like to add congratulations to Councilman Tom Schuster, as well as the other candidates, and thank you to everyone who takes that big step and runs for office. It's a lot to be able to put yourself out there. So look forward to whomever I have the pleasure of serving with in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no further business, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.